I mentioned earlier, we're about to speak to the director of a new movie called The Director. It has Pittsburgh ties, and we're going to, in fact, have a cut from it, a clip, if you will, that will set the stage for that conversation. So how about we do that? We'll be joined momentarily by Brad Grimm and a couple of his fine actors. But let's take a look at it and then start kicking it around.
See, Father? See? It's a good thing I came here. It's good to be with people.
Technical things happen.
That happens every once in a while.
I was going to ask you, you know, you guys know this better than I. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it's an artistic choice.
It's an artistic statement there.
All right, Brad, you're right in the middle, of course, director and editor of The Director, and Lauren's telling me to go back to it. What Lauren tells me I do, so we're going to go right back to it.
All right.
A man actually came to me and gave me his heartfelt confession right in the middle of a diner. That made me so happy, Lord. It made me happy to reach out and help him in his pain. And I made some friends. I know you are a merciful and compassionate God, slow to anger and eager to turn away from destroying your children. I know you are giving and perfect, and I know you'll help me in my time.
May not be the most artistic or, for that matter, well-versed when it comes to movies, but I have to say, man, that was fairly haunting in some respects. I don't know if that's the exact word there, but I have to say that the music, as well as your delivery, and of course, Jared Georgie is with us right here. You were, of course, right there depicted in the scene, and Dylan McMahon joined us, both of us joining us. Now, let me start with you.
Okay.
That was pretty intense.
It was.
I mean, that was intense.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. See, we're all on the same wavelength.
He's very shy when he's like off stage, and he's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
I taught him everything he knows.
Sure.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you very much.
That's right. You told him how to be succecinct, is what you taught him, at least on set.
Well, I call him, he's the Robert De Niro of Beaver Falls.
Oh, there's a lot to be said. I've got a friend who claims to be the, well, I don't want to go down this road. But
go down that road, please.
Yeah, no, maybe I will work it back in a moment. But I want to ask you, congratulations, the film's coming out. You're, of course, the director, Brad. You've been with us before in the Nate Smith film and so forth, to great acclaim. Let's talk about this, what's happening in the next couple of days, and then I want you to reset what we just saw.
Well, we are, right now, I actually just came from the mixing studio where I'm working with the very talented sound mixer, Andrew Hallis, and his partner, Noel, and they're both, he's a professor at Point Park, and she is a former graduate there, and they're pretty much donating their time. I feel bad. He's pushed back his vacation 3 weeks to mix this. What you saw there was unmixed. And him and fellow students from there have been working for weeks and weeks recreating all the sound. The thing about a low-budget film is it's very difficult to afford good on-set sound people. And so what we had to do essentially was redo all these poor guys had to act everything twice. Once for the camera, and then we had to bring them back in the studio and re-record everything. And it's been a brutal process. We've been in post-production for this for 8 months. But we're going to be finishing it tomorrow afternoon, and we will be screening it this Thursday at Pittsburgh Filmmakers at 7 o'clock.
And it's open to the public, and it's only $5 a head.
It's $5, which is going to get you some drinks and an after party, which will be specifically only, we're having our own venue, which will be just for people who come to the screening. And this is not a premiere. This is what we call a preview screening. So the film will be 99 finished, and we want some feedback before we start sending out to festivals, and we will be premiering this in Los Angeles for the Oscar short contention.
All right, we're going to come back. I want to pick up with that, exactly how that process unfolds, how in effect, the marketing or advancement of it, that goes down, and more on the event on Thursday. And then I'm going to go to my man over here when I need to. I'll make it real short. We're going to do that and come back in 2 minutes at PCNC. Welcome back, everybody. We talked about the director. It's the name of the motion picture, and again, with ties to Pittsburgh, and we're going to get more to it. We're speaking to Jared DeGiorgi. He's with us, the actor that you saw in our first cut, and Dylan McMahon as well. But the guy in the middle is Brad Grimm. Brad, what's this film about?
This film is about 3 totally different characters who have a chance encounter in a small diner in the middle of Beaver Falls. And the main actor that we follow through this story is a priest who kind of has a certain, he feels the burdens of being a priest and that lonely life that it can entail. And it was interesting when we created this is I was able to relate to it from the life of kind of an artist perspective, because the artist life can be very, very lonely. And you know, it's also about these certain people who we look to in the community, whether it be a priest or a politician. We expect a certain different type of, we don't expect normal needs or desires from them. And that expectation can really haunt some of them, and they break. A lot of them break under the pressure, and that's really what the gist of what this story is.
Yeah, what we feel is that we've created, we hope, is a film that you won't know where it's going. I think even from the clips you can't really tell what's happening or what it's about. So even as you're watching it, there'll be some turns that you're going to hit you out of left field, which I think is good writing and good filmmaking. And the relationship between the two of us, it's like 2 people who by circumstance run into each other and really impact each other's lives. And as Brad said, in a direction that neither one of them could have anticipated.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the way I hear both of you speaking right now, you heard my, again, very, as I describe it, Joe Lunch opinion, perspective of it as being haunting. You use the haunt word in describing the solitude that those roles have and breaking underneath it. Talk a little bit more about your role, how you got involved with Brad, and these things all come together. People like to hear, how does this all happen?
Well, I was new. I just moved here. I was living in Los Angeles for many years, and then was overseas in Australia. My wife and I came back to the States and settled in this area because my wife has family in the Pittsburgh area. And through some mutual friends, I ran into Brad at a New Year's Eve party, and he was working on a project, and we were going to work together on that, and that didn't happen. But then he felt when this project came on, the Janice Laporte, who's a screenwriter, said, I think this is a part to be great for you, of the role of Tiller. We read it. Started working on it. We become really good friends, and then Jared came on, and between all of us and Janice and a few other people, we feel like we're starting a kind of a local production company with our dream to keep producing more films here in Pittsburgh that's professional, that's worthy of Oscar nominations. I mean, we've got some high, you know, dreams, but
why not?
I think the talent and the writing and the acting and the directing is all here. I mean, the Pittsburgh Magazine, the cover said Pittsburgh, the new Hollywood.
Right.
Remember, so
We're seeing
and there's a lot going on here now. So
and talk about that from your perspective, if you don't mind, because obviously it's great to have work, and it's great to see the tax credit thing work out for Pittsburgh. And we've had the film people up here before, and the boom that it could bring ultimately to the economy. One of those aspects involves yourself and obviously other actors.
Yeah, and I think that we're at a great advantage being positioned here in Pittsburgh when opportunities like that do come to town, because I think that our chances of being involved in something like that and getting cast are much greater than they were we among a sea of, you know, tens of thousands of people in LA, you know, fighting for those jobs. Now, the extent of your work is somewhat limited at times, and maybe we're, you know, in small roles, cameos, but the attachment is still there, and it always feels good to work on projects like that. And yeah, and you know, and getting back to this project, it was great to be involved in a much greater, you know, portion of production, having a role where you had
well,
something to say,
role,
and
yeah.
And you know, everybody with this seemed well up to the task as well.
And an ensemble, you know, a creative process, we all working together. In a sense, if you want a career, and after my years in Hollywood and L.A., you've got to do your own thing.
Yeah, right.
Any person who you read about who's become successful, they kind of did it. They found a project, they made it happen, and
that's how it grows. And by the way,
but I hope that it never stops. I mean, I hope that there are movies in Pittsburgh all the time. It's fun.
We're going to come back, and we have one more segment, including more on the event on Thursday. Might I say, particularly in reference or in comparison to your first remarks, that was positively verbose.
Onward and upward. I think by this third section, we're going to
be crazy.
He's going to take over your job.
That's fine. You can have it right now. Come back in 2 minutes on PCNC. Oh, man.
Is there vodka in this?
I'm enjoying this a great deal tonight. As a matter of fact, Dr. Wecht, we appreciate his insight on Casey Anthony and Wayne Allen Root on the economy, and as always, his relatively pejorative stabs at the president. But now we are wrapping it up with Brad Grimm and two fine actors from the director. Brad, talk about this. First, you want to give a shout out, but then how do you get this move to L.A. and hopefully beyond?
Well, I first want to say I want to just thank a couple people. That haunting feeling that we got from that film was also not only due the great acting, but also the wonderful score that we had from a guy named Barrett Black, who's one of the most talented musicians I ever go to work with. He put the whole score together in literally 4 hours, which was done at PMI. We've worked with CMU, Point Park, and Robert Morris to make this film. And so my goal now has been to create the best piece of work for everyone who's donated so much time, and to now move it forward. And when we set out to this, we started this process by watching the Oscar short screenings, and I said, we got to shoot for that. And whether we have or not, you can judge Thursday, but we wanted to aim for the stars. And so basically what we want to do now is we're going to select certain, because once the finishing film's only half the battle. Then you have to market it. Then you have to get it out there.
Right. If it's the greatest thing in the world, but nobody sees it, what are you going to do? I got 30 seconds left. So clearly you want to get it out to L.A., get it to the right people, get it to the right festivals, like we see the Pittsburgh film festivals and things of that sort. They're all over the country.
Exactly. Great festival.
I really enjoyed it. Jared, thanks so much. Okay, I really enjoyed it a great deal. And also
Chatty Catty, Jared?
Yeah, always great. Thank you so much. And talk about how somebody does what you do.
And what about his hair?
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. All right. Lauren, thanks so much. Courtney, George, Mike, and everybody. Back tomorrow night, we're going to be talking with Hottie Hannah and also Carrie Coggill about not just the real estate market nationally, but also in Pittsburgh. We'll do that for an hour tomorrow night. God bless. You're watching PCS.